Yo, other for any a chief for any asher for Sabre, I NK97 and a dijumedia a yesun kokra ebremo. Na as an ebese jumedia national say unsubscribe ya a best say obe subscribe NK97 TV. Na what me emia notification bell no so say be ya ejumedie bia yedie no enya de beto intenten fidie so a obomode na also onsa atimi akenti no na watimi ene adofo a share yensem kaye ene emepia yeye enunti yebesre wada esada ensayem se obeboa yen no wa subscribe ye ho ene etimi nya ahoden a yebetimi enso aye dwumadi a eso kese pa edi aboa eye yahwefo ani yetiefo enyinada enede dwumadi a yede bra amansan na mo butie bi ene se Yera Paul Adom Okyere a oye Good Evening Ghana na ono edi nsembi ababeto edwa Paul Adom Okyere enyina enim enua bema Paul Adom Okyere dani de nyina no odidi tuma edi boa oman Ghana enomu ana nsembi abeto nanim na odi inchiremu aba na nia Paul Adom Okyere nyina ne se Ghana Police eye yewura Dampare ati a special unit bi ewo Ghana Police Service mu a ono a de hwe ni yedie na eno na obobo nipa bi dini na ode ensem bi ababetudwa ana yesu yepese yenemo eche ebia na obi nimpo Adom Okyere ne mom no obetimi anam yefidie so atenia Adom Okyere Paul Adom Okyere ekaye efa Ghana Police eye Ira Dampare en mo mbehwe a odi obi ba beto abontene a kire se eye MPP gurus and some police officials bi atnase abopo se yenyi Ira Dampare efriso eno na Dampare and so allegedly video no ana audio no and nam no so aba audio no so aba abontene we na Paul Adom Okyere inchirimu a ese na fata na odi enipa bidin aba betudwa na esekakum etinko no enumu umienkonko tie Paul Adom Okyere ene ni nchiremu ewia ne yeso ye wono eleba abeto aso.
It's not about politics. It's not. The conversation that I have had this evening suggests that there's a real problem with the police force. And if it is true, then Dr. Dampare would have to deal with it. Interior Minister will have to deal with it. There has to be a public inquiry. For a police officer to call me a journalist and say, I'm a police officer, I'm a superintendent, I can tell you everything you heard on the tape is correct. This is what is happening. I'll tell you more. I said, tell me more. He said, do you know that there is a habeas corpus application in the northern region asking the hierarchy of the police to answer? He says there's something in the police called PID, Police Intelligence Department. It's always been there. He says that I should ask any police officer, and since I spoke to him, I've spoken to a few people. He said I should ask any police officer that the PID is being used by Dr. Dampare, allegedly, to empower a certain elite police group. Very elite police group, and they do anything and nobody can talk to them, and they talk only to IGP. And IGP has said that nobody should grant an interview. No police communication officer should grant an interview. Every region, nobody talks, only him. I've seen the GJA statement concerning that. They complained about it. This guy tells me that there is murder, and that's why I was worried that there's murder going on. Policemen are being killed, and policemen from the PID are killing civilians indiscriminately. He sends me photographs of how those policemen in the PID look like. I have it with me. I'll just share it to the authorities if they want. They wear earrings and they look different a little bit. And they are in the police force, as it was alleged. And that they are committing murder. He says that in November, some young men in Tamale were on the wrong side of the law, or so it was thought. He said they have been killed by the PID on the instructions of the hierarchy. That the top has asked them to kill these young men. And they shot them dead in November. And currently, a habeas corpus application has been filed in Tamale. And tomorrow morning, we'll write to the Attorney General asking for the habeas corpus application that is pending in the Tamale High Court about the killing of these men by the PID people. That they are killing people. That they are also killing police officers. And so because of that, this police officer says that in terms of reverse psychology, the public is resenting the police and therefore they are also killing police. Because they can't handle this thing. They said that within the police hierarchy, all the COPs, 80-90% of them, are not happy with the way Dr. Dampare is managing the police process. I don't know whether it's true or not, but these are matters that if they are true, they are very serious for the country and how police is managed. I mean, you can't have an IGP about whom many COPs disagree. And then the way in which things are applied. Somebody goes on leave, he's age 54 or 60. Another person is 60, he doesn't go. Somebody works with his terminal leave, another person. So the report is given that this police officer, the very distinguished man, he's the deputy commander of the Greater Accra region, that he's on the same tenure with other people. He has to be retiring. He's not retiring because he's friends with Dr. Dampare. Other people who get to his threshold are asked to proceed on their terminal leave. He's there, he's not going. Now, these things don't augur well for a force. Now, I'm concerned because I grew up in Burma camp. Everything around me is military. I wanted to be a military officer. So when I see these things, I'm very, very concerned. This doesn't happen in military circles. No, it doesn't. Because everybody knows that Lieutenant Colonel X is going in November 1st, 2021. When I was in Burma camp, I was a small boy. When General Kwenu was recalled from retirement, there was confusion in Burma. My father and his friend talked about it. They brought Kwenu. It was a big problem. Until at some point, Flight Lieutenant Rawlins felt that I have to let Kwenu go. When General Mensah Wood became the general officer commanding, everybody was happy. Not that he's NDC or his MPP. At that time, all the soldiers were NDC anyway. They were PNDC anyway. But nobody wanted General Kwenu because they said that he's been retired and why are you bringing him back? But General Nunu Mensah was welcomed by everybody. And so the military people, they have a certain sense. And the police people are like that. We shouldn't disturb that. They have a certain sense of fairness and a certain sense of loyalty to their country. And we should not disturb that. Any IGP who disturbs and jostles that process is creating problem. Not just for the police force, but for the country. So if it is true that the same brush should be used to paint every COP, 1st May you resign, 1st May everybody resigns. It's fair. But when the police are complaining about these things, it's a major problem. And now it is said that the police people say that they will not vote. So the investigations must be concerned with the IGP's governance. This person also gave me names of journalists. I won't say it because it's alleged. Who, as at yesterday, had been paid to amplify the tape. They'd been paid to amplify the tape. So it says that this recording was done by Bugri Nabu because Bugri Nabu is the IGP's friend and that he is actually alleged to be on the payroll of the IGP. We don't know whether that's true or not, but it has been alleged against Bugri Nabu that he was the one who's a voice on the tape. Those of you who know Bugri Nabu's voice, I'll play the tape again so you can tell us whether it is or it's not when you send a text message. It's been alleged against Bugri Nabu that he was on the tape. It's been alleged against him that he's on the payroll of the IGP. They even gave me the figure of how much he paid. They said they're going to send me the document. So I've been very uncomfortable since 4 o'clock. I said, hey, what is this? I was concerned that, look, this IGP story, it's a matter ado about nothing. We should get our police people to do their work. It's not NDC MPP. No IGP can let anybody win. That's the story we had prepared. And then I got these calls, series of calls, and they said IGP paid Bugri Nabu. So Bugri Nabu is the one who was teasing them out. And then he did the recording. And the recording happened before Asin North. Why are they releasing it now? That's the question I was asked. I said, I don't know. I don't know when the recording was done. I don't understand it. He said the recording was done before Asin North. But because there's concern from Asin North that there has to be a change in Dr. Dampare, then they release this tape at this time. They release it at this time so that it will protect Dr. Dampare. Nobody wants to change Dr. Dampare. If you know Akufo-Addo well, when his MP said change Ken Ofori-Atta, did he change him? We are still here. Ken Ofori-Atta has won a major success by delivering the IMF. Nobody's going to change him. And that's why I agree with the Interior Minister. Akufo-Addo is not going to change anybody. But we need to talk about these things so that this Ghana is for all of us. It's not for NDC, it's not for MPP, it's for all of us. So if Bugri Nabu surreptitiously records a tape, allegedly, and then hands it over to IGP that I've done the work, you know, the people, this is what they said. That's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And then allegations about the PID. Now, I have felt a little bit, I didn't know they were called PID. So I'll tell you a story again. I think I'm staying long, but I have to tell you the story. At Joy FM, where I started working, it wasn't my first media job, but that's where I did quite a bit. They told us as journalists, and some of us will remember this, that if police arrest you as a journalist, go through the process. Don't say, I am journalist at Joy FM, so let me call my boss. No. They told us, don't even say you are Joy FM. Go through the process. That by going through the process, you will understand and you might get a story. So recently, Asin North Day, in fact, the day before Asin North, I was preparing for Asin North. So I was at the airport, rushing back to Ridge here and So I did some overtaking. The police came, stop, I stopped. But the way I've been dealing with police for 20 years. The way these two young police officers, female, approached me was particularly rude. I said, okay, no problem. Hey, stop your car. They thought I was going to say something. I said nothing. So they walked me to the police station. I said, no problem, let's go to the police station. What is this, a misdemeanor? What is this, escort? It's nothing. At Joy FM, I had a problem like that. I must remember, Sewa something. The lady said, DSP, she became my friend later on. She arrested me. I went through the process till I stood in front of a judge. And the judge looked at me and said, what is your name? I said, Paul Adom Okyere. What were you? I said, I did something in the traffic. The police had brought me here. Then she started writing, okay, misdemeanor, blah, blah, blah. Go. He said, come and see me in chambers. I went and said, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. We had a chat. I paid my fine. I went away. That's the training we've been given. So I never will say anything. So I went through the airport police station of all places. I went there and they know me because of the airport relationship. And they said, oh, Chief, what are you doing? I said, no, it doesn't matter. But I noticed that the senior police officers could not comment on it because they asked me, where were you arrested? I said, hey, it's Dampare's people. I saw it. And when they noticed I was listening, then they stopped talking. I said, what is going on here? I started texting to people. Then they asked me, who are you texting? I said, oh, no problem. They said, you're going to leave your car. I said, you can take the car. Fine. They kept the car for 48 hours. I walked out and took a taxi and I went to us. So when I was in Asin North broadcasting, they had seized my car. No problem. My lawyer went to the courts. They did it. They paid. Fine. But I noticed that there is some small friction between the police who arrested me and the police who were at the police station. So today when I heard the PID story, I said, I know it. But I was concerned that, but the police commander at the airport, he seems like he doesn't want to talk about it. He says, hey, this is Dampare's people. No. I mean, I will still go through the process. I'm not above the law. No one is above that. I'm happy to go through the process. I don't have any problem with it. It will just waste a bit of my time, but it helps me to learn. Now I have a story, don't I? So I thank Joy FM for giving us that training. That go through it, you will get a story. Now I have a story. Now the story is making more sense to me. Because I saw it. The two ladies, I still know how they look like. They were brutally rude. I think they were confrontational because they thought I was going to say something. I will say nothing. I went through the process quietly. I paid the fine. They seized the car for 48 hours. I went back. I showed them my Ghana card. They say, where is your fine receipt? This is my fine receipt. Take your car away. I saw Dr. Dampare at Asin North. I didn't even tell him. I could have told him that, oh, doc, you know what happened? I didn't tell him. It's not important. But when I heard the story about the PID and the way they are operating, I thought that this is something we need to look at. Because in the history of Ghana, we have seen Osagyefo's own guard, an elite created in the military that brought the country down. Under J.J. Rawlings, I saw it in Burma Camp, 64 Infantry Battalion, another elite that really brought the country down, almost collapsed the military. I saw it. So when I hear that an IGP is creating an elite group in the police, I know that it is very, very wrong. It is particularly wrong. And the Ministry of Interior, the National Security, the Office of the President should not countenance that. The police are the police. Every police officer is a police officer. COP, COP. DCOP is DCOP. SUPO, SUPO. Let's not create any elite anything. There's Police Intelligence Department. They should do their work. Let's not create an elite. Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah created, let's learn from history. Osajifo created what they call Osajifo's own guard. It was led by General Bawa. General Bawa was unfortunately slaughtered by the coup makers. And when you read Nkrumah's Dark Days in Ghana, Nkrumah said that he thought that he was sure the coup will not succeed until word reached him that General Bawa had been killed. And he dedicated the book The Dark Days in Ghana to General Bawa, Lieutenants Arthur and Moses Yeboah. And Nkrumah wrote, and all Ghanaians who died or were maimed resisting the traitors of 24th February. So I know the story. As a political historian, I know this story. We should never ever create an elite in the police or the military. Never do that again. And credit to Dr. Kwame Adom Okyere, the defense minister of 2001, who came and said, what's the 64 Infantry Battalion? Take them to the barracks. They are part of the military. They are not an elite group. What is rapid response? If you want rapid, because they were explaining that, oh, they are rapid response. No, they are Rawlins's army. That's what was happening. My friend, Ernest Parish, he died. As a 64 Infantry Battalion member, he had to kill himself because they were doing some one-time shooting and something happened. Those of you remember the story from the place near Teshi, next door. It was a very painful situation. Ernest Parish was a brilliant officer from St. Augustine's. But he got himself into 64 because Rawlins liked him. And what they do is that they pick the great boys and put them together and form an army. Almost like a private army being paid by state resources for the boss. We should not allow that to fester. When President Kufuor came, he disbanded and the army was one army. The police must be one police. We shouldn't have a PID that feels better than another policeman. That is so dangerous. And this is what we are hearing that is happening in the police, and that is why I'm interested in an inquiry. I'm not interested in the inquiry to see which policeman is MPP, who is NDC, who is MPP, who is NDC. They are all NDC, they are all MPP. I mean, recently I went to an event. I'm sorry I'm digressing, but recently I went to an event. I was an MC for an event. Round the table, the big table, Sam Jonah was there. Ibrahim Mahama was there. Osafo Mafo was there on the round table, big table. Kwame Pianim was there. Is that not a beautiful political misc? I saw Ibrahim there, and because these days he's been harassing me about the stories I do on NDC, I was dodging him. So I was dodging him, and then I went to take my food. Then he came and he hit me. I said, oh, Baba. He said, don't do me, Baba. Oh, you that story you did. I said, talking, and people went away from us. So Rashid came and said, but you people, won't you eat? Why are you fighting? And so we're not fighting, it's politics. In the middle of the fight, and some people understand, I won't say everything, but some people understand. In the middle of the fight we were fighting, Ibrahim hits me and said, Adom, you see that thing? Then I looked. I said, hey, Baba, that'd be nice. Oh. It'd be nice, your wife go kill you. Then we continue the fight again. That's how it is. Ghana is for all of us. All of us are not going to be MPP. All of us are not going to be NDC. Policeman can be MPP, can be NDC. A judge can be NDC, can be MPP. That's not important. As Peter Ajite said, the call on the police officer and the public person, including journalists, is impartiality. The call on me is not to be MPP or not to be NDC. No, that's not the call. I can be MPP, I can be NDC. The call on me when I stand here is to be impartial. That's the responsibility on me. It's not about whether you are MPP or NDC. That means nothing. So when we are making a lot about this tape that NDC, MPP, it's hogwash. What is important is what we are hearing. Are they creating a PID, elite police force, who have ammunition and are killing people? And because of that, civilians are killing police? Does Dr. Dampare have a police force that is responding to him as a subcommittee, central committee of the Ghana Police Service? They are called the PID, and they respond. PID has been there anyway. It's been in existence for a long time. What we are hearing is that Dr. Dampare has changed it. It's alleged. We don't know whether it's true. And I'm calling on the Interior Minister to have a look at these things. Nobody should change Dr. Dampare. Nobody wants to change Dr. Dampare. He's a great guy. But if maybe Dr. Dampare has done that because he's also concerned about people undermining him. That happens all the time. Being an IGP is an envious position. A very enviable. People are going to try and undermine you. Even sitting here as the news reporter, people will undermine you. How much more IGP? Deputy ministers have people undermining them. Ministers have people undermining them. So if people try to undermine you, sometimes, if you are not careful, you might create that elite force to protect your interests. It's not so much that he wants to destroy the police. He wants to protect his interests so that he can have his job done. But he doesn't need that. The political system, the judicial system, the system that sits in Ghana, the constitutional system, protects him enough. But if you create an elite and they become rude to other police officers, then we are running a very, very dangerous situation. Very, very dangerous situation. And I'll urge Dr. Dampare, if that is true, it should stop. The other thing I'll say about Dr. Dampare is that the IGP is a presidential appointment. Your loyalty is to the state of Ghana and to the head of state. I didn't mean head of government. We are operating a bicephalous executive, those who understand it. Your loyalty is to the head of state and the state of Ghana. It is not a PR contest. It is not. IGP is not a PR contest. That's the only thing I'll say. IGPs are not supposed to be doing regular and massive PR. So when we were growing up in Ghana, those of you are my age, the IGP was called, you remember the name, S.S. Omane. Did you ever see him? I still don't know how he looks like. I don't know how he looks like. S.S. Omane, that's all you hear on radio news. Present at the meeting was Flight Lieutenant Rawlins, Justice D.F. Annan, and the IGP, Mr. S.S. Omane. That's all. That's all. You don't see him. He doesn't do anything. Even Peter Namfuri, until I became a journalist, I saw him. You don't see him. So the role of the Inspector General of Police is not a PR one. When you go to England, they call him the Chief Constable. Nobody knows him. It is on the coronation of the king that the commentator will say, that's the Chief Constable standing behind Prince Margaret. That's the only time. Now, you don't even see him well because he's standing behind. You don't check it out. The Chief Constable of England. Google his name right now. Please Google his name. Chief Constable. Do you know him? The Inspector General of Police job is not a PR matter. It has nothing to do with PR. It has to do with an effective delivery of policing. And it's not political. It is an administrative job. You can be NDC, you can be MPP. When armed robbers are going to attack people and they come to your house, do they ask you, show me your NDC card before they attack you? They just attack you. So the police need to be equipped to be able to deal with that. That's all. You can be NDC, you can be MPP. When armed robbers are going to attack people and they come to your house, do they ask you, show me your NDC card before they attack you? They just attack you. So the police need to be equipped to be able to deal with that. That's all. All the police people are noble people. Dr. Dampare is a noble man. But he doesn't have to create an elite force within the PID. It is so dangerous. And that's where I think the inquiry should go. The inquiry can call people and ask them about that. But we are going to begin the inquiry with that habeas corpus, because as for that, killing 5 young men without any provocation, without warrant, and it's in a court, and a habeas corpus application has been filed, and the police are not responding, that one we will deal with it. We can't have that happen to any Ghanaian. This Ghana is for all of us. Why are we doing that to ourselves? Why are we killing 5 young men and habeas corpus come and produce the body? Hey, I'm not coming. I'll come tomorrow. Really? I don't know whether the Attorney General is aware of that. If the Attorney General is not aware of that, tomorrow we are writing to him. That Honorable Godfrey Dami, they say there's a habeas corpus application at the Tamale High Court. They say that the application is waiting for the IGP's response on how the young men were killed. And they were killed in November 2022. We are in July. A human being's life? If that is true, if, it's a big if that is true, we'll find out tomorrow. But we can't have these kinds of things going on. Police shooting another policeman. Police people take a gun and they shoot another policeman. Recently, we heard some policeman went to take another policeman something, some farm. All of that apparently is in. And the names of the journalists that was supplied to me that just yesterday, they went to the COP in charge of finance and they were giving money. The names have been given to me. I will kindly send the names to the president of the GJA. That, Baba, this is what I got. This is not something I'm going to say here. No, I can't. It's such a big allegation. You can't use it publicly like that because you don't know whether it's true or not. But I'll hand it over to the GJA people. They said these people went to collect money to amplify the tape. I don't believe it. I sincerely don't believe it. I hope I will be proved right that it's not true. But this is what I've been, and I'm not the only one who's been told. Other people have been told too that your media people, they work for Dampare, they went there, they collected, they gave me the amount of money. They said Dr. Bugri Nabu, did I say doctor? Bugri Nabu here is working on the payroll of the IGP. And that it was Bugri Nabu who did the recording. I don't know whether it's true. Could that be true? Whoa. It's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Okay. So I'm guessing that we will leave the matter here.